Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Colin and this is my 1971 John Deere 3300 combine that I just bought about 3 weeks ago, and let me tell you about it a little bit. So I saved this machine from a barn that was coming down on it. Well, it wasn't coming down on it, but I would say next 10-ish years maybe it would have been on it. It was bad. I mean, the main support beams that was holding up a lot of the barn, the big, 8x8s or whatever, you could literally put your foot right under it and wobble it. It was bad. Tire had fell through the floor, sitting about there. That's not good either. So yeah, thankfully the barn did not fall on it because there's a lot more here than scrap, and I'm really happy that I own it now and I could save it because this is a really nice machine actually. Underneath the power barn, we have a John Deere 219 gas 4-cylinder overhead valve. It went from like 205 to a 219, I think. I don't know, don't quote me on that, not sure, but 219 gas, and this machine does have air conditioning. You can see the compressor, pump, whatever you want to call it right here. And 71 was the first year for that on the 3300, I do believe, which is pretty cool, and it does work. We have messed around with it. It needs charged up, but it works, which is pretty cool. Before we get started on this machine, I want to give a big thank you to Tyler. He was out there every day helping us get this machine running and getting it home. So big thank you to you. You're watching this, well, I'm sure you are, and you know who you are. Another big thank you to Mr. Zirkle for letting me waste all of his glass cleaner and tear up his yard. And Mr. Allen for selling me the machine. And of course, Mr. Steve for doing my exhaust manifold and not charging me. That was pretty nice of him because I know he had a lot of time into that. So yeah, big thank you to all you guys. This goes to you and to anyone else who has helped me on this machine along the way. Before we get started on this, I want to answer a couple of questions I get asked all the time, whether it be in person. I'm sure you guys probably have the same exact questions. So as you probably saw from the thumbnail, I am 14 years old, believe it or not. I am 6 foot 4 inches tall. And no, I do not play any sports. I work on combines, tractors. I enjoy this more. You learn a lot more, I think, anyways. So I'm going to take you guys back about 3 weeks in time, show you where I got this machine from and how I ended up with it. So enjoy. Well guys, we got another recovery. I'm driving the telehandler over right now. It's about 2 miles from my house. This is going to be a fun one. I'll catch you when we get there. Well, we made it. Right in there. So the story I got on it was they had an on-site auction here. There's a big cultivator over there, 3-point cultivator, planter, and a combine. Everything sold except these. So they didn't bring enough money and they bought them back. But that was about 15 years ago, and since then the barn has just went south. Barn's coming down on this thing. And if I don't save it in the next couple of years, it's gonna be done. And I already see the tire fell through the floor there. Supposedly it was running 8 years ago. So we're gonna work on getting this running. I'm gonna pull it out with this. And then once we get it running, get it home, I'll show you around it some more. Ready?
Let me turn the key on. Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. Charging.
Can't hear nothing.
It's charging because the charge light went out. All right.
I'll just
gonna make noise. Back up! We don't want to hit the brakes. We don't have to.
I'm screwing him up. Hold on. Good. Good. Keep going. Yeah. Slow. 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 You're good. Okay. Watch your header. Hey, turn it. Turn. We're gonna hit those wires, so don't worry about them now. Don't worry about them right now. Back up. This way. That's it.
Well, we got it out. Gotta deal with those wires. Apparently they're hot, which is scary. You're coming from that barn. Scary, but that was a wild ride coming out of there. But got it out. Yeah. This is gonna be fun. I'm gonna get my corn head here at 244. Yeah, straight. Straight. Those beans are strong. Go that way. Hey, come in. Good. Right, tilt it back. You can come in a little more. Good. Tilt it back. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, you're good. Yep. We got her. We're good, aren't we? We're good. Yeah, if you put that side in the center, you should be fine. Oh, there's parts over there. I have to go through those. No, other way. Yep. Oh, he's standing there. He might go through. It's not on it very far. No, you're good. Tiny one header.
I think a while to do this.
You're gonna imagine doing it with this. You just gotta carry it home like this, right? Yep. Where's that? Swing. Yeah, I mean, it's run good. I gotta be able to see what I'm doing first. Huh? Oh, that's gonna be scary in third, though. Go that way. Straight. Can't leave these things help. Oh, smashed his. Oops. There we go. Groundhog got it. Cultivator, plow stuff. Let's see. I'm gonna look through here a little bit. This little shed's pretty cool. All sorts of cool stuff hanging. I'm gonna go through here a little bit and I'll show you what I find, if I find anything. just straighten this up. Bent that coming out of the barn. This screen's gonna need a little work, but I think we can fix it. Not that big of a deal.
Let's see if you unload.
Oh yeah. Alrighty, we're gonna hit the road. Alright, well we're going. It's running good. Tires have some major flat spots in them though. I'll catch you when we get home. So now that we've got it home, let's give you guys a walk around. So at first glance, it looks pretty rough, you know, but underneath 8 feet of dust, it's actually pretty nice. The tack up there is showing 2,300 original engine hours, and it is working. The cab is pretty disgusting. There's raccoon crap up there. They were getting up through the shifter somehow, but I think that'll all clean up. There's not really like cab foam to hold the smell, which is good. Might put a kid in there sometime, I don't know. Next thing that really kind of caught my eye is how straight this thing is. It's actually straight. There's not dents anywhere on it really. The auger's in great shape. Dent there, but that's not even part of the actual auger tubing, which is great. Usually this is all dented up back here on the back of the separator. I don't even think there's one dent, which is just great. Tires are all really good on it. This one's okay, a little worn down, but they all hold air, hopefully. Belts are pretty good. Those ones are okay. These ones are good. That's really good because those are expensive. Hoses are all pretty good. A little wet, but not bad. Other really big thing that kind of caught my eye was this right here. It has air conditioning. The compressor, pump, whatever you want to call it, is free. So maybe we'll be able to get that working. But when we went to look at this thing to get it running, we had to bypass that little white thing there. It's for the fuel and the carburetor. We just gutted it out basically. And of course sanded the points and stuff like that. But unfortunately the exhaust manifold there is cracked all the way around, which is kind of a bummer. That's why it's so darn loud. But other than that, this thing's actually really solid as far as combine and engine wise. But right now I'm going to work on cleaning up this cylinder. See, it's rusted pretty good. Gonna hit it with that guy. I already got the one back here for the power steering, and this one right here for the rear lift. The one over there too. So I'm gonna get to that real quick and I'll catch you when I get done with that. All right, we got those cylinders cleaned up. Let's see if it works. These things are funny. Installed it. Needs choke. Working. slip clutch. Are those spinning? Is that chain going? Just hit it a little bit. Yeah, chain. Yeah, it's going. It's a slip clutch. I gotta find it though. Yeah, hit it. All right, I found it. It's the augers.
Right here. That's your slip clutch.
It's those augers, isn't it?
Those augers are all jammed full. You're gonna break it down here or
Okay. It's the augers underneath the straw walkers. The straw walkers are going though. So
the augers are frozen up?
yeah, right there's the slip clutch. So we gotta play with those, I guess. Okay. Well, we found something out. We found our problem. This shaft right here, there's 3 augers underneath the straw walkers. Those run all the way back to about here, and there's a pile of crap right there. I think that's locking it up, so we're gonna play with it a little bit up here, work it back and forth, and see if we can get them free. We think we got it now. All right. Tyler, that lever there. Rev it up some more. Supposed to. Yeah, everything's working though. This whole mess is gonna be fun, but might as well just get to it, I guess. Okay, well that was absolutely disgusting, but we found this little thing right here. Open it, that's your return grain. Well, that paddle's not so good, but you can check up on your return grain from sitting at your seat, which is pretty cool. That crap over there is like wet still, it's bad. I sprayed it down with purple power. Hopefully that'll come out. This little lever here, I'm wondering if this has a tilt steering column in it. Not really sure, but let's get to power washing this thing. I'm really excited to see how it cleans up. Before we get to washing this thing, let's do a really quick little walk around. You all know the cap is disgusting. Just dusty, really. I don't know if this will come off. Maybe. But yeah, I'm gonna get to power washing. So this is purple power in here. It's in just a garden sprayer. We buy it in the 5-gallon bucket, and it'll cut through this grease like nothing. It's really nice stuff. Let this sit for like 10 minutes while you set up your power washer, and just hit it and it'll come right off. Well, that absolutely sucked. This is definitely one of the worst I've ever had to power wash, especially the engine bay. You see all that crap I gotta clean off still? But it turned out really good. Can't wait to see it in the morning when we have daylight. But every time I wash a combine, especially the insides of it, I like to run the separator for a little bit and let it clean itself out. So I hope this thing starts because I want to do that. Let's see if this thing starts. Here we go. Oh yeah. I'll let this warm up for a minute.
Let's see if you have any lights. That's impressive right there. Wow. All right, let's go on with the separator. There we go. Not too happy. Let's try the unload. Oh yeah. Kind of weird here when I let up the clutch, the lights turn off. That's weird.
So while I was excavating through raccoon poop, I noticed this little lever right here. And my grandpa's combine has the same thing. And I was like, I bet you this thing has a tilt steering column. Well, I just played around with it and got it free. And look at this. We're farming in luxury now. That is so nice. Actually be able to get in and out of this thing now too. All right, guys, I'm soaked and done. My phone's dying, so I'll catch you guys in the morning. Well, it is the next day and it is very rainy, but let's give you guys a walk around. This thing cleaned up amazing. Now, of course, it's soaked again, but it'll dry off. I don't like this. Water's coming through the bearing in the grain tank, which is just wonderful. All that grease crap out of there. Well, most of it. Head needs some work still. Still nasty. Today I'm gonna work in the cab a little bit. Gotta do some stuff with the choke cable, and then maybe we'll take the head off and get it in the shop. But for now, I'm gonna work where it's dry, so I'm gonna get to that. Well, this didn't go as planned. We got water in the spark plugs and stuff. Now they're fouled out and stuff, so I'm gonna clean them up and see if we can get this thing to run, but not looking so good. Well, guys, I think the motor's just wet. It's not happy about starting at all. I'll pick you up tomorrow when it's not raining. All right, guys, it's the next day. We're back on it. I'm putting new spark plugs in it. These old ones, they look really good, but they're pretty old. I'm gonna put some new ones in it and see if that helps our issue of not starting. I don't know.
That's just takes off. It's running pretty good. Pretty nice.
Well, we shut it off here to take off the head, and same problem again. So we're gonna put some new spark plugs in this thing. We got some old wires, just enough to hopefully get it into the shop so we can work on this thing. We're gonna go through, do a whole new ignition system, fix the carburetor, all of it. Hopefully this thing will actually run good. But for now, we're gonna put some new plugs in it and try to get it into the shop. So the heads are supposedly really simple to remove on these. You've got those holes down there, and there's bolts in there, 2 bolts on the bottom of it that attach it to the feeder house. And then there's a coupler right here for your drive shaft. There's that right over there. And then you have these 2 hoses for your hydraulic reel if you have one. And then this one here is to raise your reel up and down. We're gonna put it on 2 pallets. You just kind of hook it underneath this and then you let it down. I don't know, you'll see it here in a minute when if we get this thing running, but. Well, guys, we got it in the shop. This thing's kind of scary. It's really narrow and very, very tall. But anyways, that didn't go quite as planned because that little thing right there, I guess when you take the head off it, there's so much weight on the back, pops the tire off, of course. But the tire's shot anyways. I'm gonna get a new one. So, remember how I said it was riding really rough and bouncy? Well, I think I figured out why. So, that's a problem. We gotta fix that now. But for now, I think I'm going to start over here in the engine, maybe rip that carburetor off there, and I don't know, I gotta get a kit for it, but yeah, I'll get that off there, just start taking some stuff apart. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, and I'll catch you back here in a little bit. So I'm up in the cab right now, measuring out how much of this door seal that I need. It's really chewed up. But I guess while we're here, let's see what we got in the air filter. I guess you could check it from the bin too, but it's easier from the cab. So let's see what we got in there. What could we have in here? Bean dust and crap. Okay, what do we got here? Don't drop it. Okay. Ugh. This is black stuff. Oh, don't drop that. Okay, that's pretty bad. Let's see what we got in this thing. I can see a bunch of stuff in there already. There we go. Guess these things do work. Got a bunch of bean dust in there. Clean enough. No idea what that is. Disgusting. Probably should look down in there before I put this stuff back together. Well guys, I've been investigating our air conditioning and heating up there. We got everything to work, and you remember how these lights would turn on when I pushed down the clutch? That was because we had a bad ground. So I made a new ground, and a lot of that stuff up there is working, and the lights are now working. Blinkers are working. So yeah, it's really come together. I'm gonna dive through some more of that stuff up there. So as you saw, we were able to get all this stuff working up here, and it had the same problem that the lights did. When you push down the clutch, everything would turn on. So that means we had a bad ground, so it was grounding the combine frame to the frame on the cab. The cab sits on rubber right there. So we put a ground right here. This wire right here is your main power coming up, feeding everything in the cab. This one right here is for your compressor over there. And these are probably heater lines, and then there's air conditioning lines too. So your power comes up, goes to this little light right here, goes to this fuse box, and then from the fuse box, it comes to this right here. This is your fan speed. Once you turn that on, that's your heater right there. That one, pretty simple, but once you turn that on, this is pretty stiff here, but for the air conditioning, so you turn that a little bit, you hear it? Turned on the compressor and the 3 fans on top. Now this reverses those 3 fans. It cools, there's a radiator thing up there that would be sitting down there, but since this is aftermarket, they didn't have room, so they just put it up there. But that reverses the 3 fans, so you blow your bean dust out. Fans hit their cage pretty good. But if we come up here, there's your 3 fans. Cooling that guy. Like I said, that would be down there on the motor, like on your car. But since they didn't have room and this is aftermarket, they had to put it up here. This is for your air conditioning. That's for your heater. Right, there's your fans going into the cab. Here's your little mixer valve for your heat. Your air or your coolant coming up there. Then you turn it off, turns off the whole system. So it's pretty simple, but a little complicated at the same time. You have a filter back there for your cab. I don't know, I'm guessing they ran it without the filter. That's why it's so nasty up here, but yeah, pretty simple and kind of complicated, but once you understand it, it's not too bad. I lifted up this cover here just to check up on everything, and it's a good thing I did. Chain's a little loose, but you look at this, not very straight, and yeah, that needs some work, because if I don't fix that, it's just gonna kill this belt and probably pop the belt off or plug it up. That's not gonna be good. Better fix that before harvest. Now let's address that thing. That's been bothering me since the day I looked at this thing. I don't even know what's going on there, but I'm gonna put a flapper on it. So let's cut that off and put a flapper on. There we go. That should work pretty good. Well, I think that looks a lot better. These things, no, that one's already bent. Junk. Here's another thing that makes me think this is a really low hour machine. See the rasp bars there? They look really good. Concave looks good. It's not all bent up. Isn't that just a little tiny cylinder? So cute on this little thing. This little door here. Walkers look really good. Not all bent up. Those little augers down there look good. Yeah, looks really good in here. It's not bent up. Yeah, it looks good. A lot of life left in this thing, which is good, because this is an old machine. And yeah, must have not ran a lot in its day. Probably sat a long time, I'd imagine. Feeder house chain looks really good too. Yeah, that's good. All right, guys, we just got back from a parts run, scored up an exhaust and intake manifold. It is the correct one. It's even got the elbow on it still. I'll show you. I'd say this motor is probably locked up. Oh, yeah. Good enough for this motor, though. Here's where we got it from. These guys were great. We had about 3 guys out there getting me parts off the other combines from their boneyard, like this spring right here. For the chopper, I checked the tension and the spring snapped right there. I don't know how that even happens. Other guy was looking up part numbers for my belts. I got some other belts that I need to get on Monday. This new belt right here, they go half price, so that was a $70 belt, and we got it for 35 bucks. And the other guy was writing up a bill for us, which is super nice. Here's where that belt goes from there, right there. Drives your elevator and your bubble auger. And the guy knew exactly what I was talking about, which makes it really nice when you're dealing with old stuff like this. So on Monday, we got some parts for the cab and a couple more belts that we need to pick up. But yeah, if you guys ever need any old combine parts, these are your guys right here. They know what they're doing. So for now, I'm gonna jump up in the cab and start putting stuff back together. Up in the cab here, I'm gonna work on putting this stuff back together. The tack was stuck for the cylinder gauge speed, and I got that free. The cable's still good, so that might work now. Not really sure. If you're a John Deere guy, can you tell me what this does? I have no idea. Maybe something with the lights. It sounds like a high-low switch, but I have no idea. It's got a horn on it, too. I got everything to work up here with the key. I had to run a jumper before. Turn on, it clicks over there. There's like a little relay or something. And now everything works up here. That's good. I got this reel speed freed up. Little knob there. So yeah, getting a lot of stuff freed up. But for now, I'm going to put these back together and we'll go from there. All right, we got this all tidied up. We got the door seals installed. All right, on this door. That one's really nice. This one too. And we did the back one too, but I need help putting that back on and no one's home right now. So I figured I'm gonna kill 2 birds with one stone. I'm waiting on parts for a lot of other stuff, but I have the oil filter down there. So I'm gonna warm up the engine and change the oil. But while it's running, I wanna see if any of this stuff works. So I'll get right back with you when I get this thing running. That was really successful. The compressor probably needs charged up, but it was working pretty good. I felt the lines there. The one on the closest to us was hot, and the one farthest away was cold. So that means it's doing something. And the heat was working too. We turned that on for a minute. Worked good. Thankfully, John Deere made this super nice to change the oil on this. Looks pretty good. A little black, but filter's back there in the back. But I'm gonna let this engine cool down a little bit. While we wait for that oil to drain out the rest of the way, let's do a little experimenting. Here's for our little experiment. Now just imagine this across everything else. Yeah, there's the difference. But before I get too carried away doing this, let's put oil back in the motor so I don't forget. Maybe we'll do this to the whole thing, but that's a lot of buffing. I don't know, we'll see. Well guys, this took about 4 hours, but it looks mighty fine. Really shiny now. I didn't hit this piece because I plan to replace it, as it's in pretty rough shape. Could be fixed, but if I could just replace it cheaper, go that way. Doesn't take as much time to just take that thing off instead of working on it forever. Yeah, it's like brand new. I didn't hit the auger because there's not enough room right here to fold it out. When I get over there, I'll probably fold it out and hit it real quick, but for now it's fine. Really hard to work around this ladder. I think I missed a couple spots. Yep. Let me work on those for a minute. Back of it looks really good. But yeah, if you would have told me that this was the machine that was in that barn like a week ago, I'd think you were lying, but I mean, looks pretty good to me. Definitely not showroom floor ready, but looks pretty good, I think. So I'm gonna finish up buffing and I don't know, work on something else from then. Just had this thing running a minute ago, so let's check our oil. I'm gonna wipe it off. Clean, going back in. Right on the money. Perfect. Oil's good now. So I just happened to compare these filters and I noticed that it said February of 71 on it, which is the same exact year as the machine. That's just crazy. This is original air filter. Looks okay-ish in this inside. Outside's pretty bad, but that's not good. Got a new one for it. There's the part number if anyone's curious. Made in China, of course. Here's the one for the cab. It goes up top here. Right up there. And this one says, I think it's April of 83 on it. Yeah. So they replaced this one, but not the actual engine air filter, which is kind of dumb because usually you can blow those ones out a certain amount of times and then you got to replace them. But this one, you can blow it out like 2 or 3 times and then you better replace it. But yeah, we're just going to start fresh. Going to get a new one of those. Got a new air filter for the engine. So it's a good thing I looked at this because that needs replaced. That's bad. So got a new one, gonna throw that in. All right, guys, it's the next day, and I'm gonna start on the carburetor. So John Deere wanted $150 for a rebuild kit that didn't even include a needle and a seat, and that was another $150. That little solenoid thing there that I need to replace is $200. So it's about a $500 rebuild for our carburetor, which is just crazy. So I'm gonna take it off and try to fix it myself, but I ain't paying John Deere that much for a stinking carburetor rebuild. If we can't fix it myself, I'll try to find something else, but I'm gonna work on that for now, and I'll get back with you when I get it on the bench. Bingo, let's crack open that bowl now, and let's see what we got in there. All right, we got the carburetor apart. Came apart pretty hard, of course, shredded the gasket. But we pressure tested this, it held about 10 PSI for, I don't know, an hour, so that's plenty for this. All looks not bad. I'm gonna clean it all up, but we have it apart. So I need a new gasket. Here's the model for anyone that's curious. It's a Marvel carb. So yeah, this is good. Just need a gasket set, hopefully, and we can get this to work. But yeah, get a gasket set for that, and that should be good to go. I'm gonna replace that. Well, there we go. That's a lot better. In this clip, we used what's called a shake and break. So basically one end goes onto your air hammer and the other end has a socket on it. You put a 3/4 inch wrench on it and give it a small amount of pressure while using your air hammer. And I tell you what, that sucker worked great. It worked for all of the exhaust manifold bolts except for 2 of them. Had to bring the torch out, but that's no big deal. All the intake bolts came right out. But yeah, if you ever have stuck bolts, I would highly recommend buying one. So as you saw, we were able to get the exhaust and intake manifold off, and this thing is completely shot. It's cracked there, didn't even know about that. Fell apart coming off. It's junk. I'll take that elbow off it and give it to these guys over at Spawninger. But here's the shake and break that we used. This end goes onto your air hammer. Put a 3/4 inch wrench on there and then 3/8 drive socket. Air hammer it just a little bit and give it light pressure, turning the wrench, and it came right apart and worked perfectly. So if you guys have a problem taking exhaust manifolds off like that, buy yourself one of those. It's amazing. You'll never go back. But had to get the torch out. That always works good too. But this thing really saves a lot of time. So what I'm doing right now is I'm scraping this floor, getting that flaky stuff off there, and then I'll hit this with some John Deere green just with a paintbrush so we can prevent this from further rusting and make it look a whole lot better. So I'll get back with you when I get this all cleaned out and we'll get to painting it. So before I paint the cab floor, I want to do a couple things first. First off, let's fill that crack right there. I have some just random foam left over from when we built the shop, I think. So we're just going to stuff some of that in there. Hopefully that'll work. And let's throw in the air filter before we have wet paint on the floor. So I'm going to put this foam in and then we'll put in the air filter. Time to throw in the air filter. And yes, I did clean it in there. It's all good to go. this little thing. And of course, left all the other stuff down there. Let me go grab that real quick. Okay, I'm back. Got my parts. For you on there. That up. There we go. So up in the cab here, I got this little knob. Got that from Spallinger's. We'll put you on there. Come on. There we go. That's good. Also got a shifter boot. But before I put that on, this chain for your concave clearance needs tightened. It's jumping off the sprocket, and I'm going to tighten up these linkages, the bolts loose down there for both of them. So hopefully those will line up better. Yeah, I'm going to do that, and then we'll throw on that cover. So to tighten this chain here, there's a block of wood in there. You can't really see it. You just turn that a little bit farther, and that'll tension that up. And then for your shifter here, I don't know if you can see it, but those little clips down there that hold the cable, both loose. And you can see plenty of slop, needs a line too. So yeah, I'm gonna tighten those up and then we'll throw that cover on there. So I'm currently laying underneath the machine, adjusting these two cables right here. Those are your shift cables. Right here, you have a mechanical clutch, not a hydraulic one. Over here, you have two mechanical brakes. I don't know if you can see them or not. Operate these guys right here. It's actually pretty cool how they did the system. So you have a variable speed drive belt coming in here, have a drive clutch like a tractor, you can see it in there. Goes to your transmission, obviously, and then from the transmission goes to these drive axles, just like a modern combine. And then I'm guessing there's a spur gear in here and then a bowl gear. I'm gonna call this the final drive. Not really sure what it's really called. Then you have this big square tubing axle holding all the weight. Same thing on the other side. But I need to check the oil in there eventually, and in the transmission and over there. But yeah, for a 1971 combine, it looks pretty good under here. Everything's really solid for these auger housings. Yeah, I'm gonna get back up there and put in that shifter boot. Well guys, my seat showed up here. There's the top piece, looks pretty good. There's the bottom piece there, but it's pretty laid out, so I will install that tomorrow when I don't, or after school I should say. I don't know if I'm gonna put it in the cab, but I'll put it on that bracket or the mount hopefully. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know. I'll work on something, but for now it's late, I'm gonna go in. Made it back from school and I'm gonna put the seat together and put the new pieces on there, and we'll see how that looks. So I got the seat put together and it looks really good. But the seat bracket right here is broken, so I'm gonna weld that back together real quick. And I wondered why the seat was flailing all around, and that's why. So I'll get to welding on that and then let that cool probably. Put it on there and might do a test fit just to see how it feels, but not gonna be permanent yet because we still have to do the floor and everything else. But I'm gonna weld this real quick. Okay, we got that welded up. It's all cooled now. Weld's okay. I'm not very good with welding, well, whatever the heck that is. It's, what is that, like 20 gauge, 16 gauge, just really thin stuff. I'd rather weld a nice chunk of steel, not that thick, but you get what I'm saying. But good enough for a seat bracket. Really strong, so not really a problem there. But when we paint the floor, I'll hit this with a little bit of John Deere green so no one, or so you don't see it as bad, I should say. But yeah. That's good, and let's throw that back on the seat bracket over there. And then we'll get all this put together, and maybe we'll test fit it up in the cab there. Well, I just had to see how this would look, and it looks great. Folds up so you can get through it nice and easily. Just comes down like this, just like that. Really comfortable too. I'm pretty tall, and I'm sitting right at the front. Might have to move it back. There's a lot of space back there still, but I don't know. While we're up here, let's throw that shifter boot on right now. Just unscrew this guy. I did adjust it, so those are lining up now, nice now, so that's good. Watch me drop this now, of course. Okay. Maybe I'll be able to get over that nut. I'll get back with you when I get this on. All right, I got that installed and it's looking good. And let me show you why that cylinder speed gauge wasn't working. So, let me grab a light here. So, here's your cylinder drive right here. On the back side, they have a little belt. Right here's the belt. I have Spallingers. Get me a new one of those. Anyways, that belt drives a beater in there. Beats the straw and throws it onto the walkers in there. But that little pulley right there at the top has a, I think it's like just an O-ring that comes down to here. And that's your cylinder speed gauge. That drives it up there. Got a cable that goes down to it. So yeah, gonna replace that and that should work then. Also gonna replace that belt. And these three looked pretty good, so not gonna worry about those. But yeah, that'll be nice. We'll have a working cylinder speed gauge. All right, I got this all prepped up and ready to paint. Now, I would usually spray it, but since it's in a cab and I have a new seat and I don't want to get overspray on blacken the dash over there and all in the glass and all that. So I'm just gonna brush it on for now. And at the end of the day, it is the bottom of the floor, so it doesn't matter that much, but I just want it to look a little bit better than that. So I'll get back with you when I'm done painting because I'm not gonna film any of this because I don't want it on my phone. So I'm gonna get to painting this. All right, I got that all painted. Looks pretty good. And I guess while we're painting, let's hit this exhaust right here with some high temp black, make that look a lot better. I also cleaned up a floor mat here, washer there. Get out of there. Cleaned up a floor mat. There's like a little mat that goes under this, cleaning that up right now too. But hopefully tomorrow when the paint is dry, I'll be able to put that in there along with these boots too, hopefully. And yeah, really getting the cab put together and it's starting to look a lot better in there. I might as well make this look half decent. Well, I think that looks really good. This stuff's pretty cool. It dries to be like a flat black almost, and it looks really good on there. Of course, I got carried away. It was looking so good over there. Had to hit this up here too. You can see it's a little wet still. It takes about 15 minutes to dry, but this will look a lot better when this is all put back together. I'm gonna hit my new manifold too when I get that back. That's getting surfaced right now and nice and flat, so we'll have a nice mating surface. So yeah, this looks a lot better now. All right, well the paint's all dry and I went ahead and installed the clutch and brake boots. That one ripped, unfortunately. Probably gonna replace that one eventually. And of course that one ripped and that one's shot. That one definitely needs replaced, but nothing I can really do about it now. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the floor mat. Well, there we go. That looks really good. Kind of a bummer with the boots, but like I said, nothing I can do about it now, so oh well. I figured out our problem with the seat. They had this bracket in here backwards, unless they had like a really short person in here, but flip that bracket around and I got a lot more leg room, so this will be a lot more comfortable now. Well, this, I guess you call it crossover pipe, turned out really good. Looks really nice. And I'm gonna take off this valve cover because you can see the gasket's clearly been leaking. And while we're there, might as well just adjust the valves, but I'm really curious to see how it looks under there, so I'm gonna take that off real quick and maybe I'll do the ignition system while I'm right here. And it's kind of nice, there's not a lot of stuff in your way, like this intake pipe right down there. So yeah, I'm gonna take this off real quick and I'll be right back with you. Well, I got the cover off and everything looks really good. Nice and tight. It feels like, well, a low hour machine, which from the tack, it is a pretty low hour machine. There's like crap in there from the seal. Gonna have to clean it all out, obviously. We found that little thing in there, and I do believe that is a seal for this year. It probably shrunk, just like the gasket, and it fell and it was laying right there, which is not a good spot for it. So got that out of there, but everything looks fine here. I'm gonna put the cover back on for now. I'll adjust those later. And I'm going to put in my ignition system, the solid state ignition system right down there. So we can just knock that off the list. The radiator though is gonna need flushed. Looks okay-ish in there. At least it's not leaking though. Yeah, it's okay in there. That one's pretty bad, but that's aluminum, it's gonna do that. So I'm gonna put that cover back on and let's get to throwing that ignition system in. Let's get this out of here too. I'll drop my ignition parts in there. Wouldn't that just be great? So this ignition system is very simple to install. There's your wiring diagram right there. Very, very simple. And here's where we got it from if anyone's curious. So let's get up on the machine and install that. First thing I'm gonna do is disconnect these two wires right here and get the coil out of the way. And it is very important to note, I do have the battery disconnected, and you should have it disconnected when you're doing this, unless you want to start fires, which I don't, because there's a lot of flammable things down in there. So yeah, let's get that coil out of there. Okay, there we go. So this is ignition coming from your key. Set him aside. And this one, here we go. It used to be that, remember that white solenoid thing that was on the carburetor? It used to be for that, but we are deleting that because I hear those are very problematic, and I'm not paying John Deere $200 for that piece of junk. And then this one right here just goes to your distributor for the module and everything. So very simple, but I'm gonna finish taking that out of there. Bingo. There we go. Don't need this anymore. Go. If you're wondering what all that racket was in the background, it was snowmobile and stuff, but never mind that now. So here's this piece that goes on the shaft there. It has the little magnets on it. And if you can see it, there it is. It has those 4 little indents on it. On the other side, it doesn't. This side goes down, and it goes perfectly within the cam lobes there, whatever you want to call that. And it says, do not remove the green tape from it. Guess that holds the magnets in. So yeah, don't do that if you ever have, or if you ever do a kit. Yeah, fits on there perfectly, nice and tight. Yeah, that's really coming together now. Here's this little dust cover. Put him on there, should be a groove. Guess it doesn't matter. Okay, we got that in its place. It's not turning. Here's the new rotor. And see, they have a metal tab in there, so it fits on there a lot nicer than the old one did. The old ones, usually they wobble around. This one nice and solid on there. And then the cap, just gonna put that on there for now. Don't have the spark plug wires made up yet, but yep. And wow, that was easy. It took me like 20 minutes. Perfect. New coil is going in, and the positive, put it on that side, closer to my ignition wire. So that just goes right there, and you tighten it up. It's a nice wire right there. Okay, so the black one goes to the negative on the coil. So we'll put that one on. Just like that. And back on there. There we go, that looks nice and neat. Okay, so this red one coming from the distributor goes to the power side of the coil, along with the key switch goes to the power side of the coil too. And put that guy on there. There we go. So my grandpa just stopped by a minute ago, and he's pretty familiar with John Deere combines. He's had some older ones and stuff. He runs all modern stuff now, but anyways, remember how I had no idea what this button was? Well, he figured it out. So this machine has an electric clutch. These are your main drives right here. You drive everything, the separator, engage it with this guy here. And then right here is your electric clutch. This little guy right here converts power from, well, non-spinning, gives this big pulley power here. And right here is where the electric clutch is for the feeder house. So it is free right now. And it also drives that pump back there for your reel. So how this works is turn your key on and should be free still. Yep, it's free. Hit this button. Now it should be engaged to everything else. Yep, and it worked because when we had this running not that long ago, the head was spinning, so it must have been working or doing something. Had to repair this wire here. Stupid mice got to it, of course, but that's pretty cool. I didn't know it had that. Now let's go on to that exhaust manifold down there. I'll show you guys that thing here. Well guys, here it is. We have a nice machine surface now, super flat. I think Mr. Steve took about 15 thousandths off of this. Not really sure though on his belt sander, and then he blasted the inside of these. But if you guys need any machine shop work done, hit up Mr. Steve on Facebook. He can do all this stuff. He did a super good job too. And the coolest part is he didn't even charge me. He said he likes what I'm into, which is really cool because I know he had a lot of time into this. So big thank you to you, Mr. Steve. Now let's take this over into our paint booth and get some high temp black going on it. While we let this dry, let's go work on something else. While we have that drying over there, I'm going to rebuild our carburetor. Got a gasket set here, so I'm gonna get to it. All right, we got it all cleaned up. Now we are going to test the needle and seat, see how much pressure it holds. So for those of you guys that are not familiar with the carburetor, the fuel comes in here, there's a needle and seat there, and when the needle comes up, it lets the fuel in, and then once the bowl fills up right here, it will pull these up because these are hollow, and it will shut off the fuel flow. So I'm going to pump this up to about 10 PSI, and it should hold. It's close enough. Take some carb cleaner and, oops, bumped it. Carb cleaner here. Spray that in there. And should not see any bubbles, and we don't see any bubbles. And then once the fuel runs out of the bowl, comes up and it lets more fuel in. So I'm going to leave this at about 10 PSI for like 5 minutes. And this machine does have a fuel pump, so it is very important that this holds. While we're waiting on that over there, make sure it holds pressure. Here's our manifold. It's already dry. Looks great to me. Tried my hardest not to hit these spots. Gonna have to clean them up a little bit. Yeah, I hit it a little bit, but that's okay. It looks really good. I don't know if you remember, but when we were cleaning out that cab, found this homemade tool deal here. And I found out where this guy goes. Yeah. I'd say they plugged that up a time or two. Had to make their own tool. But it's nice because I'm sure I might end up plugging that up too, along with the feeder house. Because when we were with Mr. Steve, I don't know, he used to be a farmer. I don't know if he still is or not, but he said if you're not plugging up these feeder houses, you're not doing it right. So it's a good thing we have that tool. All right, it's been about 5 minutes, and sure enough, right there, maybe a little low, but I mean, it's not gonna have to hold for 5 minutes. So that's good. Now I'm gonna get to putting the whole rest of the carburetor back together. All right, you got the carburetor done. Looks pretty good. I was thinking about painting it black, like the exhaust manifold over there, but I think I'm just gonna leave it how it is. And I imagine it would have been green from factory, and if I painted it green on there, it'd probably stick out like a sore thumb and draw a lot of attention. So for now, we're just gonna put it in this box and set it aside, but it is ready to go on the machine whenever I get the exhaust manifold on. So yeah, good with this. Set this guy aside. So I have my belts to replace the two main drives here because they're dry rotted and they're junk and they're all worn out, along with the feeder house belt. So I'm just gonna get to it and get it over with. So you gotta loosen this tensioner here to get these two main drives off for your tires. So you can get the two main drives off for the separator and everything else, and this belt right here that drives your head and your feeder house. So loosen that thing up. Okay, there's one. Now let's address that pump up there. That's gonna be fun. So if anyone's curious on how this pump comes out, take these two brackets off and then you spin that shaft right there and then the pump comes right off and then you can get your belts off. Took me forever to figure that out, but finally I figured it out. And as you can see, it's a tapered shaft, so you kind of have to bump your hand on the wrench to break that tapered. And then it comes right out, but I'm gonna put a bunch of never sees on that when I put it back together, so that's never a future problem. Piece of junk. If you worked at John Deere and you designed this whole mess, I don't know what was wrong with you, but this is horrible to work on. I haven't even got that other belt off, and I can already tell that's gonna be fun too. This is horrible, bad, horrible design. All right, here's the new belts, and just get to it, I guess. Oh, this is gonna be fun, but might as well just get it over with, I guess. So you guys are going on time lapse and I'm gonna get to this. Well, that actually wasn't too bad. It took me like 45 minutes. Actually pretty easy. Probably shouldn't have said that. But anyways, if you ever do this, before you touch any pumps or belts or anything, loosen this up right here. That is what pushes back on that pulley. You push your lever forward. Loosen that stinking thing up and you'll get a lot more slack on these and you won't be fighting trying to turn over the motor and the whole separator and combine when you're trying to put these belts on. So they literally just put themselves on is what they did. That was a lot easier. And as you can see, I adjusted it. So nice click, nice and tight. This one's actually pretty cool. They have a cable that runs all the way around. A little mechanism there. Just like that. And that one is nice and tight too. And main drive is nice and tight. So yeah, this is good. I'm done working here now, so I'm gonna close this and be done with this for a little bit because that was not fun, but it's done and over with now. I think I'm gonna go work on the motor now. I don't know, I'm gonna find something to work on though. That feels good. Don't have to look at that for a while, hopefully. All right, to the motor. Do you want attention, Remy? Want to come work on the combine with me? Nope, you just want to play, don't you? Silly dog. We finally got our exhaust manifold gasket, so it's time to clean up this surface, and I'll clean up the valve cover surface while I'm up here too. So I'm gonna get to that. All right, so I got both those cleaned up pretty good. So now I'm going to adjust my valves and the intake, cold or hot, doesn't matter, I guess. So 14 thousandths, and then the exhaust is 18 thousandths. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the spark plugs out so I can roll it over by the fan easier. And yeah, I'm just gonna get to it. I already got the valves adjusted. It was actually pretty cool how this works. I've never adjusted anything like this, but you just spin that little guy right there, and they're like lock nuts. So instead of having to have a screwdriver and then like a jam nut method, just turn that. And they weren't too bad. They weren't too far out of spec. Pretty good. That on there just to keep crap out. And I shot backed everything out of here. That was a mess. All that crap in there to take care of. Can't see it very well from here, but that's a lot of junk, and just it was mostly just soybean dust and oil from this leaking, I think. But there's about 4 inches caked down in there. Just horrible. Anyways, I wish I had my gasket so I could finish off that and the manifold here, but I think I'll finish that before I put the manifold on just to make it easier on myself. But now I think I'm going to put that cover back up here on top of the roof because I think I'm done in there. But first I'm going to take care of that mess. This is probably one of my favorite parts on the older John Deere combine. How nice and neat this just folds up. Just sits there and looks nice and neat. You flip up this one down here. That guy there flips up and you latches on, but I just like how nice and neat it looks, and it's easy to work on too, and you can stand on it to work on your cab. So that's what I'm going to do. So I was just up here all ready to put the cover on and everything, and I remembered I can't because Raccoons chewed those drip lines off for the air conditioning. That was really short. They're supposed to go down through the floor, and I need this open so I can access the hose. So can't do that now, but I got something else I can work on. So I'm still waiting on the valve cover gasket, and like I said, I don't want to put my exhaust manifold on, so I could just make that easier on myself. But lights on this thing. I don't like replacing lights because, well, they all work on here, but that one right there is not original. I don't really like that up there. It looks kind of goofy. And these ones here all work. That one up there does not work, and you can't really see anything behind you. So I have something to fix that. Got 20 of these cheap little LEDs here, and they're pretty bright. They're all right. So I got, a box of them there. I don't think I'm going to put all 20 on, but I don't like replacing good American lights, but I kind of have to, and let me show you why here. So I got the lights turned off in the shop here, and here goes the lights. Yeah, you can't really see anything. I know it looks bright because it's on a skid loader, but it's really not. You can't see your head at all. I mean, let me turn it on and off. Like, you're getting just that little section of your head, and nothing over here, nothing over there, nothing in the bin, nothing for your unload, and nothing behind you. So it's pretty bad. Thankfully those ones work. I'm not going to mess with those. But I do kind of hate messing with lights that work. But I will save them. I'll use them on something eventually. I'm sure I will. But yeah, I'm going to get to replacing it, and we'll see how it looks when we turn on the LEDs in here. The camera makes it look a lot brighter, but it's really not at all. See, you can't see anything down here. Nothing over here. So, yeah, I'm gonna get to replacing them, and we'll see how it looks when we turn on with the LEDs. I plan to put a couple up there on that rail, a couple back here on the other side too. So you can just check up on everything, obviously in the bin, and good bit over here. You can see your unload. So yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Holy crap, guys, these lights are amazing. That's only 4 of them over there. Still have those 5 over there to hook up. And I can already see way better than before. You can see right down there where the head's gonna be. Got one going over there for when you're turning. And yeah, this is way better already. And yeah, should be able to see a lot more at night. So I'm gonna finish up those tomorrow after school, and we'll try this again. All right, guys, it's the next day. School got canceled, so got a head start. I got all these wired up in the front here. There's 9 of them. And same deal again. Shop lights are turned off. And here we go. Yeah. See how much better that is? You got a view all the way around. Have some more over there. Some over here for when you're turning. And, of course, nice view down there by your head. So this is good now. I think I'm going to go into the bin and start installing those. A couple over there from the auger, like I said. So, yeah, let's get to that. Yeah, there's just an idea how bright these things are. Got 4 of them there, and then 5 of them over here. Yeah, should be able to see pretty good at night now. Welcome to the grain bin, guys. Here's what it looks like. Actually, pretty big bin for how small of a machine this is. This extension helps a lot. And another thing that kind of saying low hour machine, that right there, it's not worn off too bad. A lot of paint left in the bin still, which would mean it's not been hit with grain all its life. Still paint on the auger. So yeah, I'm gonna get to putting lights on up here, and I hope I don't drop anything because that's gonna be fun. That's all raccoon crap down there. So yeah, I'm gonna get to putting some lights on. Well, there we go. That's 10 LEDs in the front and then 10 LEDs in the back. Like, I don't know, hour and a half to do this, 2 hours. We gotta go test them and see if they work. This one was fun over here. All right, let's go test them. All right, let's walk around it and see if they're all working. I did add that one right there, so I didn't just have like a random hole. And that helps out a lot too. Not original, but it's okay. I think it looks all right. Those ones are working. Man, those are bright. Can't even look at them. Blocking my eyes with my phone. Those ones are working too. That one's working. That one's working up in the bin. Yep, he's working too. And that one's working. That's all 20 of them. Wow, I can't wait to get this thing outside and when it's dark out and see how it looks. My stinking valve cover gasket, whatever I get here. It's annoying. Just got the tires back and they look really good. Went with BKTs, pretty good brand. And the ones that were on here before were 7.5 wide and these are 9 wide. A lot wider, better flotation when you have a full bin and everything. So yeah, I'll probably throw those on here soon. Well, there we go, guys. It was $232 for both tires with tubes and mounted on the rims. I think that's kind of a deal myself, but I don't know. Looks a lot better when they're wider. It looks more proper on the combine. And I also threw the seat in the cab too. So I am currently replacing these wires right here. Well, not replacing them, just fixing it. Because you can see Raccoons chewed it up. Made a mess of it, of course. So how this works is when your walkers are going, if you were to, I don't know, take a slug in and plug this up back here, it would push up on this paddle like that. And well, when the wires are connected, a horn comes on underneath the cab and tells you to stop and come unplug it. So I kind of would like that so I don't, well, plug this whole entire thing up because that would not be fun getting down in there. And no, just don't want to do it. So it does work. The horn does work. I put those 2 wires together and it worked. So yeah, I'm going to suffer through this and try to fix that. I'm laying on my stomach right now on this thing. It's not fun, but I'm going to get to it. Oh my gosh, this It smells horrible. This is not fun. I can hardly reach it. I really hope I don't have to get in here and lay down. I'm taking the chopper off before I do that. This is no fun. Well, forget that. I literally can't get that. Horrible. I can't even reach it. So I guess that's going to have to go, but I'm not doing that now. All right, it's pitch black in the shop. Let's see what it does. Holy cow. This became daytime in the shop. Oh yeah, ton over there for the unload. One in the bin. You can see behind you. Wow, that is nice right there. Can't wait to run this thing in the dark outside. Here's what it looks like from the ground. Absolutely crazy. Ton down here where the head's gonna be. Looks pretty cool too. See a bunch over in there when you're turning. A couple behind you. Oh yeah, this is gonna be nice. Really bright over here. Unload auger. Yeah, this is gonna be really nice. Time to install the drip lines for the air conditioning. Got them installed. Look pretty good. They fit in there really nice. Looks good. I'm gonna test it real quick. So I've been trying to flush this out because, well, the water is disgusting, and just make sure it flows good. But if the water is disgusting, that doesn't really matter. So we're good with this. I'm gonna go ahead and put that cover back on the roof up there. All right, I got that all put back together. Looks pretty good, except for the fact that it's white. Now, still waiting on the gasket. I don't even know when that's gonna get here, but I basically have almost nothing else to do, so I'm gonna put the exhaust manifold on, and I don't think it's going to affect me too much. But yeah, I'm just gonna do it. Got a gasket set right there. So yeah, we'll get to it, I guess. All right, you got this all put back together. It looks really good. Tighten this belt here for the alternator. It was a little loose. And I put the belt back on for the air conditioning there. So when we torqued this down, I went 10 foot-pounds, worked my way out. And then I went to 20 foot-pounds, worked my way out. And I went over it twice. Came back to the first bolt that I started on right there, and it didn't move. So I call that good. But after we run it for a little bit, if my stinking gasket would ever get here, we'll retorque it and make sure that's all the way good and never leak. So looks really good on here, and it fits really nice. So now I'm going to throw on the carburetor. Carburetor's installed, looks good. Now I'm going to make the spark plug wires, and we're gonna throw those on. All right, got all the wires made, looks pretty good. This one's a little short, but it'll work. Only if I had a gasket, we could literally hit the key and this thing would fire up and run. Still waiting on that thing. Before I run this machine any longer, the separator and engine, and I want to grease everything really good. So I got the book here. It tells me where all the grease points are. 10, or what was that? Yeah, 10 hour, 50 hour. I'm just going to go through it all. Do it all because it probably hasn't got grease since like the 90s. So not going to hurt it to do this real quick. They made this really easy on you. You have both sides of the machine here. 50 hour is weekly, and then 10 hour is daily. And you have 250, which is probably like monthly or something. I'm just gonna go through and do it all, and we'll see how long it takes. All right, I got it all greased. Took me about an hour and a half, which isn't too bad for my first time. And I also fixed these two pulleys there. Remember how they were leaning? Just tighten it up and fix those, and all greased, so now we can run it whenever that gasket gets here. We just got back from spalling our combine, getting some parts. Got one of these doors here. It's not perfect, but it was the best one they had, and it's a lot better than that right there. So I'll take it. It was 75 bucks, so not too bad. Then this is the tack drive O-ring deal, and just some sickle sections, or knives. And then this is the belt that drives beater here, that one there. So yeah, I'm gonna throw that belt on real quick. All right, I got that on there. Looks pretty good. Of course, that spring there exploded and went flying and flew off it. Same exact thing that happened to the chopper spring. Junk, of course. I don't know why that keeps happening. And put that little O-ring on there for the tack drive in the cab. That's good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put these 3 belts back on for the main cylinder drive. All right, got that together. Now let's throw this big door on. Well, there we go. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's a lot sturdier than, well, that. So I'll buff it when I buff the auger over there. But that's okay for now. A lot better than what we had. So it's a lot solider too when you stand on it. It doesn't squish down in the middle. So we gained a little bit. Now I'm gonna go around and tighten all these chains. See, that one's, the tensioner's all the way down. I'll take a couple links out of it so we can use the smaller sprocket if we had to. So yeah, I'm gonna go around and tighten all the chains on this thing, take links out if I have to. So yeah, I'm gonna get to that. Just realized I'm missing a shield here. It looks like the one on the other side, I'm imagining. And next time I go over to the place where I got this from, I'll have to look for it, unless Spallingers has one. Chains are all tight, look good. Now, time to put that thing on. Finally, we got that. So I'm gonna get to that. Ready to run. Gotta put antifreeze in and fire it up. All right. Well, I certainly did not plan on pulling the head today, but got all this stuff up here. Push rods look really good. All looks good. Head bolts look good. And over here is the head. So I don't know if you could tell, but when we ran this thing, it had a major exhaust leak. Like, it was bad. And that's because someone must have ran this thing with an exhaust leak. And instead of taking the like 20 bucks to buy that gasket and fixing it, caused this problem. So it basically eroded the top of the exhaust ports. You can see they're all pitted up and not good. So that's where it was leaking on all of them. So we have to take this to Mr. Steve and he'll have him machine that again and make that all flat and true. And we'll have him match it up to that too. So, and I had to run it with the choke out, which would mean we probably have a major vacuum leak on the intake side of things. And that's probably why the thing starts so hard in the cold. Well, up here on the block, it looks really good. Cylinder walls look good, pistons look good. A little bit over a 4-inch piston in there. It's pretty big, actually. So if you've never done one of these before, it's actually really easy. Exhaust comes over, intake comes over, manifold obviously, a couple hoses here, your probe for your water temperature. Someone rounded that off, that was not fun. And if you have air conditioning, that kind of gets in the way. You pop the belt off, pull this up, get it out of the way. Obviously, a bunch of head bolts and comes right off. It took me and Tyler, yeah, thanks for helping me, Tyler. It took me and him about an hour and a half to get this thing off here, which isn't too bad. And that's over at Mr. Steve's right now. He is going to be resurfacing the front, and I think he might go through it all the way too. I mean, we might as well. It's perfect time for it, even though it is a low hour machine. You might as well, you're already there. And we might hone these cylinders. But in the meantime, I'm going to clean this up, and hopefully we'll be seeing that head here in about a week or two. I don't know, I shouldn't have said that. It's probably going to be a lot longer. Luckily for you guys, you're going to see it like that. But yeah, I'll pick you up when I get my head back and we get to putting it on. Well, guys, I don't have the head yet, but I'm about a week into waiting, and I'm going to go around and show you what I've got done so far. Been working on stuff in the cab. First off, got this all cleaned up. Looks pretty nice. Got to clean the cylinder walls out still, but we're good here. Now let's jump into the cab and I'll show you what I've been working on in there. Unfortunately, the footage for this clip was lost, but basically all I was showing you guys is how I was able to get the low shaft speed monitoring system working. All I had to do was replace a broken power and ground wire, and all the lights worked except the tailings elevator one, which you guys will see here in a minute actually fixed itself. Also on my book here, there's a wiring diagram. There's your box. Here's your sensors. Got the wires going to the box. There's the switch underneath the cab when you engage your separator lever. Powers everything. There is the light on the steering column. So yeah, take a good look at this if you ever have this problem. And you can also just get a book. I think it's like 20 bucks. So you just get a book and you'll be pretty far ahead and can help you trace wires and everything. While we were waiting on the head, I also brought the buffer out, hit this panel here. Can't get that white crap off there. I don't know why. Rust hole is still bothering me, but it's better than what was on there, that's for sure. While I had the buffer out, I also hit this shield right here. Forgot to do it the time before, and that looks really good. I also was able to get the auger swung out and hit that with the buffer, so that matches really nice now. Looks great. And me and my buddy Sam took the chopper off because we plan to run wheat with it this season. And if you're gonna bale it, you can't have a chopper on there. And he was a big help because this thing's like 200 pounds and you're not doing it by yourself. But it's really nice John Deere put those handles on there for you. Also, when I was looking in my book, these wires here for your chopper, or the sensor on the chopper, it says to ground them out here. And I was wondering what that was because I wonder if we were missing something, but I guess not. You just ground it up and tie up the rest of the wire, I guess. But hopefully in the next week or so, we'll see that head and we'll be able to put that back together. But in the meantime, I'm gonna put the cab back together. All right, guys, I'm back. It's been about 9 days since we dropped off the head at Mr. Steve's place, and he already has it done, which is awesome. But today's Tuesday, we'll pick it up on Friday. We've got to wait for John Deere to get my head gasket in. But I got some also exciting news here. So this box, remember how the tailings elevator one didn't work? Apparently that doesn't matter. But overnight, that thing apparently fixed itself. I'll show you here. Yep, that's all 5 of them. And that light turns on. So I don't know what it did. It fixed itself apparently. But you also got to think that thing hasn't turned on since like 97, and it's crazy that that still works. The board in there said like 1019 of 72, which is just crazy. That's good American parts right there. But it's cool. It fixed itself, which is nice. I also got something else I need to show you. So I don't know if you remember or not, but I could not fix those wires that were up here while I was laying up there. Well, now we have the chopper off. I can get under here, stand up, and right there's the wires. I already fixed them. And when you push this up, so you can probably hear that horn. So it works, which is pretty cool. And if you were to plug it up, it would push that up instead of plugging up everything. Like if you were to have weeds bridge over here in your straw chopper and not allow it to go through, and plug up, which is pretty cool. And if that system failed, you have this right here. This is the straw walker drive. I have this chain here that drives it, also drives the fan. There's a shaft that comes through from the other side, comes over here, powers this stuff. And this is just a normal slip clutch. Same thing you guys heard at the beginning of the video for those augers underneath the walker. Remember, those were locked up, except this one has a bell on it here. So if you were to plug it up, it'd be a lot louder. It'd be going ding, 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 ding. So you could hear it from your cab, which is pretty cool. So if that were to fail, you have this as backup. And that's another thing I like about these older machines is just simple systems like that. 2 wires powering that. That's mechanical, that's simple. Yeah, just simple stuff makes it really easy to work on. Just notice this, looks like that hose has been leaking. Yeah, right there. See, it's split. So I'm gonna have to replace that now, and probably might as well replace that one too. We got the hoses replaced and they look really nice. All right, guys, we got the head back, and as always, Mr. Steve did an awesome job. I'll put a picture of what the machine surface looked like on there, but perfect. I think he took like 40 thousandths off, which is a lot, and it was really, really bad. But anyways, he ground the valves. He said he could tell that this machine was sucking in a lot of dust, which it's a combine. It's going to be in a dusty like field and stuff. But that also leads to why the air filter said February of 71 on it. To just replace your air filters, and that would save a lot of time, obviously. And I got my valve cover here, cover that, so we can paint around it and not hit our valves. And we're gonna do a primer, and then we have it's like an old style John Deere green, which should match the block a lot better. And for our torque specs, you can just look up like a diagram online. It'll tell you which bolt to go to. We're gonna do 35 foot-pounds, 65 foot-pounds, and then 95. Go over it twice on 95, come back to your first one, and if it doesn't move, then you're good to go. And I cannot remember what the rocker shaft was, but just look it up online or get a book. I'm sure it tells you in there too, but it's pretty easy. So I'm gonna get to painting this, and then we're going to put it on the machine. Man, this thing looks good. Really good. Hopefully be dry here soon, and we'll throw it on. Looks good. Pretty big difference.
Number 3?
Yeah. If this little thing holds up.
Oh, yeah.
I can feel it flexing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it flexes a lot. We're ready to run. Everything's put on. Ready? There we go. Guys, I tell you what, it sure is nice to be in this cab on a day like today where it's raining and freezing cold out. That heat is amazing, and it doesn't smell anymore, which is nice. It's still not running great. When you go to rev it up, watch the RPM gauge. It does not like it. I've pulled choke out, likes it. So something's not right in the carburetor. We're gonna have to go through that, but whatever. And here goes the separator. Oh. I've been working when that's on the floor. Out of there. Okay, let's go. That's working. Then electric clutch for the head. And that works. See it right there. And I didn't have it revved up when I have both hands, and those lights did go out, which is awesome. So this machine's actually really coming together. Hydraulics are all working. Pretty cool. Got the head off here. Yeah, this thing is really coming together. Oh, and the tack gauge works. I'll show you here. Yep, that works now, which is pretty cool. And yeah, the lights are really nice too. Maybe I'll drive it tonight and see how nice those really are, but this thing's really coming together. It's turned out to be a really nice machine. Working good. Well guys, as you can see, I brought the machine in the shop and I also went ahead and threw the head on it so I can work on this while waiting for parts or something else for the machine. And I kind of need a break from that machine. I've been working on that for a month and a half now, and I just want to work on something else. It kind of gets old after a while. But yes, I will get it done. And let me know your opinion down in the comments below. Do you think I did a good job on the machine? What you would have done differently? If you still run them today, if you like them. And obviously, I need to do the fuel tank and the carburetor. The fuel tank is not going to be fun. It smells horrible. And I hit the side of it, and there was like a layer of hard crap on top, and I could hear it falling down to the bottom of the tank. So that one's going to be fun to tackle, but I don't really want to film that because I don't want that on my phone and stuff. But as for the head, I'm going to do this in a separate video. The headers, I got 2 more corn heads for this machine and the grain table here. And it needs bushings replaced, as you can see. Well, there's no bushing there. And a couple guards. And I'm going to take off these field tile things. I know it's supposed to help with the beans so they don't grab on and wrap around and make a mess, but it looks like crap. Whoever did it, well, this duct tape it's not good. It's janky and I don't like it. And if I ever did it again, I would put a smaller tile on there and a new tile, nice looking tile. But enough of that, guys. If you've not already, hit the subscribe button. It helps me save these and these and these and these and turn them all into something as nice as this one turned out right here. But enough of that, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.